The media, tabloids, magazines, TV turned girls like Shirley Temple and Brooke into objects of lust, stealing their innocence before they could even dream, from toddlers on film sets to teens in provocative ads. They were sold as fantasies, their childhoods crushed for profit. The cost? Shattered souls, betrayed trust, and a fight to survive a predator's spotlight.
Are you sure you like him?
I'm just crazy about him. I'm awful crazy about you too, Daddy.
Hollywood is not just glamour, it's a world of mystery, and on tragic icons, we unravel it all. Shirley Temple was 3 when she became America's darling. Her golden curls and dimpled smile, with her bright eyes that lit up the world. But the media saw a doll just to exploit. At 3, she danced in tiny skirts, winking at grown men in short films that played up her allure. Magazines crowded about her flirty charm, printing her dress sizes at 5. Fan letters from older men poured in, gushing over her tiny frame, making her feel like a prize, not a child. Shirley later said, "I was not a girl, I was a product."
Marry me and let me be your wife.
The way Hollywood back then portrayed Shirley Temple to the public was very wrong and very, very inappropriate, because this was a girl that was just 3 years old. She was a child, and Hollywood pushed her into a little charming seductress, and older men would be all around her. And I actually watched one video where she was sitting on this man's lap who is her father in this certain movie, and she's singing to him, and she's saying that if I was a bit older I would have married you and took care of you. And that's very disturbing. When I watch that, I'm like, that's very disturbing, because this is a 3-year-old child. How are you letting her recite such lines? On top of that, her mother, Gertrude, was actually more of someone who was usually there, but she actually pushed her daughter into these roles because her mom wanted the fame and her mom wanted the money, and it was during the Great Depression. And I don't tolerate that, and I don't understand why the mom actually did that. But this girl was actually a victim of the media's dark side on how to exploit young people and young girls. And at some point she once said that she was actually in Fox and she wanted to move to MGM, and she was with her mom. Her mom went to go and meet Louis B. Mayer, and she went to another room to go and meet a producer. And she was 12 years old when she went into that room. The producer actually removed all his clothes and he was naked, and she didn't understand what was going on because she's 12 and the only person that she's ever seen naked was herself. And she said that she laughed so hard that the man had to literally kick her out. Can you imagine how crazy that is? I don't know if that was a self-defense mechanism, but what in the hell was going on back then in Hollywood? What is the sickness that was going on, especially back then, where there was a lot of tragic things happening? A lot of women older women were actually given prescriptions. Young girls were being exploited. And for a young girl who's 3 years old to be fantasized by the world, to be wearing skimpy outfits that her mom would actually, suggest. But she later went to say that her mom was not part of her styling. She had a stylist, but even though the stylist and the whole company, for them to let her wear such revealing clothes for a 3-year-old, for her to be dancing around men, being carried around men in a bus, and she's out there singing to older men, was just very horrific and just toxic.
I'm 12 years old, and I thought he was a producer, but instead he was an exhibitor. And I'd never seen anyone naked before, except myself, so I had no clue about what was happening. And
as she started growing up, that's when her problems began. By the time she was in her teenage years, tabloids started mocking her and calling her a fading actress. At the same time, studios demanded she starve herself to stay cute. At just 22, Shirley decided to run away from Hollywood. Her heart was heavy with her childhood, stolen by headlines and creepy stares. She rebuilt her life beyond acting, but the media's twisted obsession left scars of shame she carried forever. Another child star who was actually caught up in the same situation, even though she was not in the same era as Shirley Temple, was actress Brooke Shields, the girl the world made a fantasy. Brooke Shields was a media obsession before she could walk. At 11, she played a child proxy in a film. I cannot say the full word, but either way, I'm sure you guys can actually picture what the word proxy is in full. Her image was plastered across magazine as art. Her mother Terry called it glamorous, but Brooke felt exposed. At 14, her Calvin Klein jeans ad set the world ablaze. That image was just very crazy, and she did actually have some pictures of her nude in other covers. Tabloids screamed teen siren, while TV host pried into her private life. Brooke once said, "I was a kid, but they made me a fantasy." The media actually turned this young girl into an S symbol. Can you believe that and imagine that? The media's sexualization of girls like Shirley and Brooke was not just cruel, it was vile. Hungry beasts that devoured their innocence. In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, tabloids, magazines, and TV turned countless young girls into prey. Children, barely old enough to read the headlines, were told to wear suggestive outfits. They were told to pose for cameras and were mostly branded sirens or cute, seductive temptresses. The media was not just a spotlight, it was a predator's playground, stripping away their childhoods for profit and leaving broken spirits behind. The media actually built a sick culture that celebrated exploiting kids back in the day, turning innocence into something seductive, a commodity. And I'm just here shocked that the parents actually even agreed for this thing to carry on, or the extended families, because the mothers, who were usually the managers at that time, even were encouraging and entertaining such things. And I'm just shocked. Please let me know, guys, in the comment section what you think. Thank you guys for making it
Too much.
video. I'm so grateful. Please do like this video, do share, and do subscribe if it's your first time on this channel. When you do subscribe, please hit the notification bell. That way you're always notified when I've actually dropped a video. Thank you guys. Bye.